And welcome to our annual general meeting. We're really pleased that you're joining us this afternoon for this virtual event. You'll hear a lot about the work over the past year, our finances and our plans for the future. So to kick off, I'm going to hand over to our Chief Executive, Chris Starkey, to tell you more.
Thanks very much, CJ. This AGM marks our 10th anniversary, so it's a great chance for us to look back. From bidding to government for funding for our original business grant programmes to the 60-person plus organisation we are today, we've seen lots of changes and challenges along the way. In that time, we've invested more than £300 million into local projects and programmes across our 2 counties. We've improved roads, built new skills facilities, innovation and business centres, and supported thousands of businesses. Those projects have helped deliver economic growth, unlock key development sites, and create the environment which businesses need to flourish. This, of course, is a great opportunity to thank everyone who has worked with us, our staff, our board, and all of those who support our work. Thanks in particular to our local authority, education, private sector, and voluntary sector partners, without whom our successes would not have been possible. Let's take a look back at some of our achievements over the past 10 years. So a positive decade has gone past, and to sum up those numbers again, £300 million of investment we have put into the region. That's brought in another £1.3 billion of public and private sector funding, created 15,000 jobs, supported with one-to-one support more than 15,000 businesses. And the past year has been particularly busy. We have continued to support businesses who've been impacted by the COVID pandemic in a way not seen since the Second World War. We all faced another lockdown through the early months of 2021, adding more uncertainty for businesses. As the roadmap for lifting restrictions was announced, many businesses could at last breathe a sigh of relief, a feeling there was light on the horizon, but we know that for many, times are still tough. Furlough comes to an end in just over a week, and as other financial support mechanisms come to a close, the coming months will be challenging. UK's exit from the EU, combined with COVID, has caused problems in the supply chain and ongoing concerns about labour supplies in many sectors. The pandemic has, I believe, truly underlined the value of the LEP. We've been at the forefront of the region's response to COVID, with partners producing the Economic Recovery Restart Plan and recovery plans for the visitor and economy sectors, two of our most important. We're now consulting on a renewal plan, which will set out the actions and commitments that are required to help grow a more sustainable and resilient economy for Norfolk and Suffolk. For the LEP itself, it's been an incredibly busy year. Our team has continued to work mainly remotely, but working more closely than ever before with private, public and education partners. Many of our growth deal projects funded by our growth deal with government are now coming to completion as we approach the end of the window for that money. We look forward to many more of those projects, including Productivity East at UEA, the Digitech Factory at City College Norwich, and the Digital Skills Centre at Suffolk New College, opening for the first time in the coming weeks. We've also been pleased to see progress on many of our Getting Building Fund projects. Fantastic progress has been made on the Marina Centre on Great Yarmouth Seafront. Topping out ceremony is tomorrow. And the Integrated Care Academy at the University of Suffolk, where construction is underway. And of course, cranes have been seen on the old post office building at Bury St Edmunds. Earlier this year, our enterprise zones celebrated their 5th anniversary. The 16 sites across our region are now home to major commercial developments, and they continue to attract growing businesses. Our direct support for businesses through grants and our Growth Hub advisors has been needed more than ever over the past year. Our Growth Hub hotline received more than 16,000 calls from businesses during the pandemic, equating to around 66 full days of support time. That was a brilliant achievement by all involved. And our Business Resilience and Recovery Scheme, which launched in spring 2020, has also been successful. And here to tell you more about the impact it has had on their businesses are two of our recent grant recipients.
Zach's is a family-owned business consisting of 3 diners in Norwich and Poringland. It's been going since 1976. We only purchased the business February last year, and we were really excited and had great momentum on the brand, and then suddenly the brakes were put on by Boris on that announcement we made saying don't go to restaurants.
The Hudson Group is based in Suffolk. We specialise in signage, vehicle livery, promotional gifts and corporate clothing. We were very proud of where we were prior to COVID, but like any other business, all of a sudden it just stopped to the point where I was the only one left off furlough.
I've known the LEP for a long time. I saw that funds were available and I thought, would this work for us? So I made some inquiries, we did a bit of pre-approval stuff. Are we eligible? Are we ticking the right boxes? We put an application in, and then the rest is history.
I actually stumbled across the new Anglia Growth Hub when I was looking at other available grants to us, and I thought, oh, well, I'll look into it. Let's see how that works, and contacted them. We've invested the funding in a CNC router, which is a machine that cuts any shape you can imagine for signage, a direct-to-garment printer, and a Oki transfer printer. The CNC router will speed up processes, probably 2 times quicker than we had before. The direct-to-garment printer and the Oki transfer printer is areas that we didn't have previously, but it is services that our existing customer database will be interested in.
We invested the money in the blue caravan called Little Blue. We also used some of the money to complete the works that were on the part finished red caravan. Get on the LEP's mailing list so that you're aware of what funding is becoming available. But as soon as you're thinking about that decision, get on the phone to one of the growth advisors and have a conversation with them, because they're going to know better what pots fit where and what might be suitable and what might be available at that particular time.
Hello, my name is Roseanne Weinberg and I'm Chief Operating Officer for the new Anglia LEP. I will talk you through 3 slides today, which will give you a snapshot of our income, expenditure and balance sheet positions for the 2020-21 financial year. I'll start with income. New Anglia receives income to support our projects and programs and the LEP's operational activity. The LEP received a total income of 69.7 million for the year. The majority of the LEP's funding comes from the government's Local Growth Fund and the new Getting Building Fund. We also receive funding from the Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy and the European Regional Development Fund, and from our enterprise zones, and this supports other LEP initiatives. The income breakdown can be seen on the slide, and I draw your attention to the following. 35 million of growth deal income, 15.4 million to our new Getting Building Fund. 4.1 million of this income was allocated to the Business Resilience and Recovery Scheme, the new fund established to support businesses in the New Anglia region in their longer-term recovery from the coronavirus pandemic. We also had 8.6 million of other income. This covers a range of LEP programs. Examples include our Enterprise Advisor Network, our Small Grant Scheme, the Cambridge Norwich Tech Corridor. It also includes income from our enterprise zones. And finally, we received 500,000 from government and 234,000 from our local authority partners, and we'd like to thank them for their continued support. Expenditure. The LEP's total expenditure is 50.3 million. The majority of the LEP's expenditure is grant payments made through its growth deal and other programs. Other expenditure includes staff and office costs and funding awarded to external partners and projects. Key areas, 31.8 million is grants for our growth deal projects. In our growing business fund, we paid a total of 25 grants at an average of 113,000. We issued 47 grants through our small grants program, totaling 425,000, an average of just over 9,000 per grant. We issued 118 grants through our new Business Resilience and Recovery Scheme at an average of almost 29,000 per grant. We had 5.5 million of other expenditure. This includes project and consultancy work, as well as the overhead costs of running the business. And next, the balance sheet. Our surplus and reserves have increased this financial year due to the growth deal and Getting Building Fund allocations received from government. These funds are committed to specific projects, but not yet spent. Our asset position. The LEP's balance sheet is mostly presented by cash and growing places funds, loans and investments. Of the 62.9 million, almost 59 million is cash, the majority of which is held by our accountable body, Suffolk County Council. 12.5 million is loans and investments made through our Growing Places Fund programme. Liabilities. We have liabilities of 1.5 million, represented by just over 1 million of creditors and 500,000 of pension liability. Our members' funds total 73.9 million. This is a significant increase on the 54.8 million of the previous year. As mentioned, this is due to the receipt of additional government monies during the year and a reduction in spend because of delays on some large infrastructure projects. This meant that our surplus for the financial year increased significantly to 19.5 million. Again, these funds are committed to projects, but just not yet claimed. And the expectation is for the next year that the LEP will incur a deficit as the projects draw down on the remaining funds. And finally, the LEP's accounts are independently audited. They are published on our website and filed at Companies House. I will now hand back to our chair, CJ, and she will ask you, 1, to adopt the accounts, and 2, to confirm the appointment of our auditors, Price Bailey, for the next financial year.
Thank you, Chris and Roseanne. And as Roseanne has just said, now for the formal part of the annual general meeting, and we must approve of our accounts for last year and the reappointment of our auditors, Price Bailey, for the next financial year. So we have Corrien Peasgood, who is an approver of the accounts, and our board member Dominic Keane is a seconder for those accounts. And the reappointment of our auditors, Corianne Peasgood is also an approver of the reappointment of Price Bailey, and Dominic Keane from our board also is an approver, a seconder for that appointment of our auditors. So many thanks. As I come to the end of my first year as chair of the New Anglia Local Enterprise Partnership, I really echo Chris's views on how vital the support has been over the past year for businesses in our region. These last 2 years have shown the importance of the LEP in supporting local businesses directly through our support programmes and by our Growth Hub, as you heard in that wonderful video. It's about investing in the infrastructure that businesses need and in representations to government in a strategic support for projects like Freeport East. So what does the next year look like for us? Connecting ideas is key to our success. Our superpower is who we can bring together and support across our region. The launch of our Connected Innovation Project and our Innovation Prospectus sets us on an exciting path to support and develop our region's clusters and further grow our network of creative space and thought. We are stepping up our work to deliver clean, inclusive growth alongside regional partners. Our Clean Growth Task Force is now set up and is an important part of the region's approach to deliver that clean, inclusive growth. This is where much of our focus will lie, and while there are huge strides that need to be made, we're already helping businesses make important changes through our Clean Growth for Business programme. We're offering free webinars, online resources, a new podcast. It's a great way for businesses to learn more about what they can do, and I encourage you all to engage with that activity, and all of those details you can find on the LEP website. We've also got fantastic specialist advisors in place in our Growth Hub who will be able to support you in organisations to make changes that are good for your customers, good for your business, and then good for the planet. The future of the role of the LEPs is currently being reviewed by the government, and we're closely engaged in this process to make sure that the needs of our region are understood by key decision makers. We remain optimistic that this region can emerge stronger after another challenging year. Our region has an impressive ability to rise to a challenge, which we saw during the pandemic. As a LEP, we look forward to continuing to partner, collaborate and innovate with organisations across Norfolk and Suffolk to drive the best outcomes for our region. A final thank you to the LEP team for all that they have done in the last year and all that they are yet to do, and as well to the board for your continued support over the last year. Thank you.